Every time I play this game, I ask myself a question. And that is, if I just play cards randomly, do I have a chance of getting a close score to everybody else? Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And today we're here with part 2 of our rating of our trick-taking games.
Our tier list.
For trick-taking month. Now, we did say for trick-taking month we would only cover 30 trick-taking games.
But Ilya conned me into more.
And we're covering nearly 50.
But
that's on trend.
I will say that even though we're covering this many trick-taking games, there are so many others out there that we have not yet been able to play or that we aren't even going to be talking about.
Even some in our living room right now. Because a lot of trick-taking games actually are played in 3 to 4 players.
Yeah, it's one of the difficulties.
We just can't crush these games together. We have to have friends. Yeah. And we only have friends in occasional moments. So there will be a part 3 in the future. It's not going to be coming soon, but once we played enough, we'll do another part 3. So stay tuned and recommend some of the trick-taking games you don't see on this list today.
Exactly.
With that said, we did cover what each of the letter grade mean, what we're doing, and everything we're doing in part 1. Click that right there if you want to watch and get caught up, because we will be revealing...
Yes, spoilers. Spoilers, our lists are going to be shown in this video.
From the last list.
Yeah, and we'll be updating them with the new games. So if you don't want to see those, you should watch part 1 first.
Exactly. But with that said, what is our first game we're going to be talking about today?
This one, right here. It's called Bottle Imp. Bottle Imp. This one's very interesting.
It is.
I will say that right off the bat, because basically what you're trying to do is the hand is sort of determined, who will win the hand is sort of determined based on the cards that everybody plays. And you want to be the closest to there's a certain, is it the bottle card or is it the imp card?
The bottle imp, where the bottle imp is on the card.
So it starts out at like 19, I believe. And if you play the highest card, and all other cards in the trick are played higher than the 19, then you'll win the trick.
The highest card.
The highest card. Yeah. But if somebody plays below that 19 or the imp card, then you are playing to get the closest but not over the imp card.
To win the trick.
To win the trick, yeah. So if you want to play, I think that the next card closest to it is actually 18.5. So if you play the 18.5, everybody else has to then, or can just play a card, but you're probably, you're gonna win the trick.
Exactly.
There's no way for you to lose that trick.
And the reason you want to win tricks is because each of the cards have values of points that you'll get if you win the trick. But if you have the bottle imp, I guess we should say if you win the trick and yours is below the bottle imp, you actually claim the bottle imp on that card. So that card now becomes the new bottle imp that everyone will be aiming for.
Yes.
And if you end up with a bottle imp at the end of the game...
End of the round.
You'll actually lose points equal to how much you would rather gain. So you kind of want to pass some win tricks moderately and make sure you're not the last one to have it, because you'll lose a lot of tricks that way.
Yeah, so it's really interesting in the sense that like you want to be winning tricks, but you want to be winning them early, but you also want to keep cards in your hand so you don't win tricks at the very end, or you want to be able to like toss some cards at the end so you don't end up with this bottle imp card. The strategy is quite intriguing to me.
The last thing I'll add is this game comes with so many different modes. You can play with up to 5 and 6 players and have 2 bottle imps. You can play a 4-player game. You can play in teams. There's a 2-player variant. There's a lot of different ways to experience this game. So it does have a lot of packed into it.
Yes.
But with that said, what is our very first letter grade for part 2?
A for me.
A for you?
A for me. Because I think it is a lot of fun. I think it's like an average trick-taking game, but it's also like newer to me, so I have a little bit more bias towards wanting to like introduce it to folks. That being said, I think the strategy is like quite intriguing, and there's a lot in the box.
I'm very close between a B and an A. I really
Always
like...
close. You just have to pick.
Well, it's hard because I don't know if it's quite an A, but I feel like it could be. And the reason it is not quite an A yet for me, and you know, I will put it at B.
There you go.
The reason it is not an A is I've not played every single mode. Because sometimes games throw in modes to try to be like, we're here for everybody. We're here for everybody. We're amazing at everything. But there's only one mode you should be playing, and that's the only good mode. So I don't know if this game has that.
Yeah.
I know.
What if all the modes are good though?
Well, if all the modes are good, then it is an A or maybe even an S. But we'll have to see once we play all the modes. Maybe we'll come back for part 3.
That's fair.
But that is
Bottle Imp.
Next up we have Inside Job.
Boom.
Now, this is cooperative-ish, not quite.
Yeah,
it's trick-taking game.
It's like if you like social deduction games where you're trying to like get the imposter. That's what this is, but trick-taking.
But throw the crew in there as well.
Yeah, because there's all about yeah.
So basically, in this game, you'll either be the agents or the insider. And as the agents, your goal is to complete a certain amount of missions, while the insider, your goal is to gather a bunch of intel about the agents.
Yes.
Now, each trick you'll be playing, one player will draw 2 cards and choose a mission to play. And that mission will tell you the trump, and it'll tell you the objective for the mission. If you meet the mission with the trick that you just played, congratulations, you met a mission. The player who has played the highest card following suit gets an intel token. Now, the insider doesn't have to follow suit, and they can do whatever the heck they want. So their goal is to be sneaky, to try to collect intel, try to convince everyone they're not the insider. And the game will end in one of kind of 3 ways, where either the agents will win by meeting their objectives, the insider will win by meeting the intel goal based on your player count, or if neither is met by the time you finished your hand, you'll actually vote on who you think the insider is. And that's the whole deduction aspect of this game. But generally, it's just fun because it takes deduction, it takes trick-taking, throws it all together, and it feels very, very thematic while you're playing it. And it's one of those games that I feel like you start playing, and you just don't want to stop playing, personally, for me.
Yeah, and like, the thing about this one is, in most, and I'm going to compare it to social deduction games because that's what it reminds me of, is that you don't have to be like super vocal about this. So like, you're playing your cards, like, that's what I had to play. Like, I had to play it. Like, it's easier to like mask yourself, I guess, is a good thing. So it's like nice to be able to do that, and it takes because I'm not much of a social deduction type person. That for me is more enjoyable. I will say that I also like being able to play the insider though, because it's fun to time like when you're gonna mess it all up, or when you're gonna try and figure out, or when you're gonna win tricks, take things, not do things. What are you gonna say? It's really, really interesting.
And as an insider, even if you're very obvious, you still have a chance to win, because you can still play those high cards and get the intel. But it is really fun when you play a card out of suit and I don't have that suit, but then you actually play the other suit again and everyone's like, wait a minute.
Oopsies.
What happened there? But what would be your letter grade for Inside Job?
I think for me, this one is a B.
And why is it a B?
Because of every reason I've talked about. I don't think it's like amazing, but I also like really enjoy the aspects of like this, again, social deduction thing combined with this trick taking. I like the co-op mode of it, and I also particularly like when the game drags out to the very end where people are voting on who is who. I think that's when the games are like, those are the closest of the games in my opinion.
I will say this one was very close to an S for me.
Oh.
It is an A, and I will say why. The reason I ranked it so high is also there's so many different ways to play this game. There's different roles that get introduced. There's ways to scale out this game. There's so many different missions. It always feels fresh, and like I really don't want to put it down every time I play it. I don't like the art in this game.
Fair.
It's just, it doesn't land for me. I think the
We're
theme...
picking at straws here. That's what it...
Exactly. A is a fantastic game.
Yeah.
This is picking at straws. I feel the theme works. The theme makes sense. But I feel it could be a...
Is it picking at straws or pulling at strings?
I'll pick at straws. But it's very, very close. I feel like with a different art style, it'd be a little bit higher for me. Could potentially hit the S.
I mean, A is still pretty good.
A is great. It is a great game. I would play this in a heartbeat.
Starting off strong.
Inside Job. Next we have Seas of Strife.
Boom.
In this game, you don't want to collect tricks.
Exactly.
And there are many a suit in each of the... I believe there's 7 or 8.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There might be 7 suits.
But they're varying in numbers. So one, like, none of them are the same number, and they go all the way up to high.
And 70, 80-ish,
yeah.
somewhere around there,
and
maybe.
each suit has like a different number of cards as well. So like the smaller numbers, so like 1 through 11, I think, they're all one suit. And then the next set of numbers are all one suit, but it's only 9 cards. You get the gist.
So you don't want to win tricks, but here's a few twists. Twist number 1. You must follow. And that's actually not a twist.
No.
Because a lot of trick-taking games, you must follow if you can't follow. But the twist here is that at the end of the trick, whatever the most amount of suits, that's who will win.
Yeah, the majority suit is the one that is going to
evaluated.
Yeah.
And if there's a tie in suits, there's 2 and 2, it's the higher number. So it's actually pretty easy, especially later in the game, to kind of twist and turn the game in your favor to not take cards. Now, the other twist is if you win with the highest card, you can choose who leads the next trick, and that can be you as well. So you can, if you have a good card that makes sense, you can be that player.
You don't have to play the highest card. You just have to win the trick.
No, you have to play the highest card in the suit to win to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that gives a little bit of flexibility if you're stuck with a lot of high cards, for example, because you can potentially shut them and get rid of them.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the round, basically however many tricks you win is how many points you'll get, and you're reaching a certain threshold, and you're trying to reach the lowest score when that threshold's met. And that is Seas of Strife.
Yes. I thought this one was interesting. I'm not like super sold on it. I found that the strategy was like, not hard, but it felt like I got stuck sometimes, and that didn't feel great because then I just ended up getting lots of tricks. Or I felt like people could really like screw you over if they had like matching suits to then change the majority. So that felt a little off, but I understand like the battle that's going on between it. So there's appreciation there. It just maybe didn't vibe with me as well as I thought.
Hair again. Didn't vibe with you?
Did not
What
vibe.
letter grade would you give it?
Oh, we're jumping right to letter grades?
Yeah.
I'm giving this one a C.
A C?
A C for Sea of Strife.
I give this one an A.
Oh, okay.
I really, really enjoy this game. The art in it is lovely. The strategy is really fun. And it is essentially, you are really adapting to the situation, making the best of you can of your hand.
Yes.
And you know, it's funny because I feel like I said I don't like this in other games, but I like it in this game for the exact reason of you are able to team up on people if they have too little points. Like you are like, maybe I'll play this trick or this suit now to make sure it's the majority so they get the card. And it's part of the game, and it's really intuitive once things start happening, and you really do want to make sure that all the points kind of go up at equal levels so you don't catch up to people.
There is a lot of checks and balances that happen in it just naturally at the table, so that was like interesting strategy that did evolve.
It's a lot of fun. It's one I regularly will pull out to the table.
There you go.
That is Seas of Strife.
Okay, next game we have is called Stick'em. This one is pretty interesting. It's like at the start of the round, when everybody's dealt cards, you pick a pain color. It's like a suit. And then those are the colors that, how do I say that? Wait, you get negative points for not having, for the cards.
Collecting them.
The cards that are of the same suit.
Including that card.
Including the card you play down. And then you get positive points for every other card that you get. Now the tricks are a little interesting in this one, in that you will play them down, but if all the colors are the same, that's how you evaluate a trick.
The highest rank will win.
But if anybody plays out of suit, it's actually the highest card amongst the out of suit cards. So if you started it with blue, then somebody else played red or yellow, or red, yellow, purple. I was gonna say green, but green is also a color. Your blue card is actually safe because you are not part of the other colors.
Well, it's not safe. You want to win the trick.
Well, you're the lead suit. Maybe you don't want to win the trick.
Maybe you don't want to, because it has too much of your pain
maybe it has
color.
too much of the pain. Yeah,
correct.
Exactly.
But you'll play your whole cards, and then you'll evaluate, like Tyler said it, whatever suits of the pain color you have, you'll actually score negative points of those face values, and then you'll score positive points of everything else.
Exactly.
Now, there's some fun twists. Zeros that you get out of things are actually not evaluated for anything else, and it's a very different type of trick taking.
It is.
I feel it really, like the first few times we played it, it really broke my brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I can think of a single game where the suit that is not the lead suit wins if more cards are played within the suit.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like usually you have like a secondary suit or a trump or something that goes in there.
Yeah.
In this game, it's just
ignores
it's not that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really interesting. It's quite a joy to the table. And I really enjoyed this game.
I really enjoyed this game too. I don't know if it like totally stood out for me. I think actually your point to like turning the whole thing on its head kind of actually is negative points for me, because I think it took me a while to actually like get into the strategy of the game, and I wanted to enjoy it like when we first started playing it, but it took me a while to get into it. And once I started enjoying it, it was like we were already playing it for so long, so I was like kind of cashed out, you know?
When we first played this game, we played it a lot. Like, we showed it consistently to people. And it's one we haven't revisited too often recently, but I want to revisit it again. And for that, it is a very close S to me. It's an A.
Wow.
I really like it. It's a game I will play again and again. I don't get tired of it. And that decision of choosing your paint suit is also so interesting.
It is, yeah.
Especially because you have what's in your hand.
Because you see what's in your hand, yeah.
And even if you don't have a lot of it in your hand, you never know what else you're going to collect. And that's the really fun. And you get to see everybody else's paint suits.
Yeah.
And that's a really fun element of it as well. You kind of push and tug some leaders.
It's a simultaneous show, so
it
like,
is.
The interesting
but during
one
the
is,
game.
well, I know, but what I mean is like the interesting one is when people pick the same paint suits. Like that's actually pretty beneficial.
Or it's
well, yeah, I guess.
Because it's bad for everybody.
It's bad for everybody, but like at the same time, you're like, okay, well, if they get it, they're also getting negative points.
That's true.
The scores are not as like spread out.
Yeah.
I give this one a B.
A solid B for Tyler. Any particular reason beyond what you mentioned?
No. I think it was a lot of fun. It just took a bit to get into. That's kind of what it is for me.
That is Stick'em. Next we have 3 chapters.
Woo.
Now, we've talked about this one quite a bit this year. It is a newer game to this year, and trick-taking is actually one of the 3 chapters.
Yes.
There's a drafting phase, there's a trick-taking phase, and then there's a set collection phase. For that reason, it is a little bit lower already on my list, because trick-taking is not the core of the mechanic.
It's one of 3.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What I will say is 3 chapters is probably one of my favorite games released this year.
Yeah.
It's so much fun
really
to the table.
It.
We've played it over 10 times. It's so easy to show to people. It has that nostalgic factor of fairy tale creatures. And the gameplay is very simple. You're essentially drafting cards. Then you're using those cards to play trick-taking to score various points of how they interact with each other. And then you're set collecting for the cards like you would in trick-taking almost. But, so in the tricks that you play, you actually don't collect the cards. You can still win the trick, but you'll keep the card that you played regardless if you win or lose.
You'll collect a token, which is worth points, or a certain token, which is worth points, because there's 3 different types, I believe.
There's a star for winning tricks.
Yeah.
But it's a really fun game. Do you have anything else to add before we get to the letter grades?
No, I guess the one thing I will say is because the draft is like one of the first things you're doing is, first of all, you're not going to be using all of the cards in the entirety of the deck. You're also going to have if you have a good memory, you'll have almost perfect information because you'll know all the cards that are out there. But also at the same time, the way you are going to play your tricks aren't necessarily going to be like, I need to win them, I need to lose them. You are probably going to be looking for more of like interactions that are happening on the board. And then I think because of that, well, what Ilya said is it is only a small piece of the puzzle that kind of turns trick-taking into a different thing for me. It was still a lot of fun. I think it was really well implemented. For a trick-taking game specifically, I think it will be lower on my list. But I really, really like this game.
With that said, let's get to the rankings. What do you got?
Whoa, you're going to make me do it first?
Yeah, I'm curious what you'll say. Maybe I'll base my ranking off of
I'm putting this one for trick-taking, just for trick-taking. I'm putting this one as a C game.
Okay, I was thinking between a B and a C. And I was aiming it off Arcs, because Arcs...
actually, I put Arcs as a B, so I was... Yeah, that's a good point.
So, but...
It's close.
Here's my thinking. I'm also going to put it at a C. And my reasoning for it is trick-taking in this game is even less of an emphasis. Like, I feel with Arcs, it's a pretty core mechanic to what you're doing. But here, trick-taking, it could also be said you're playing cards. because there's no really following suits. Like, you do win if you have the highest number, and that's, I think, the only trick aspect to it.
And it's a strategy that you can go for.
But it's a very loose trick-taking definition in this game. But I really like 3 chapters, and you should definitely play it if you have not yet.
Yes, yeah. There you go, 3 chapters.
Next we have Brian Boru.
Which I had to put over here because it's a big box. Brian Boru. Oh, upside down.
Oh, and the party it's not even a party on the back. The back is
I'm so used to it being a party in the back that I left this one upside down.
Now, this is another heavier type of game that uses trick-taking as a core mechanic.
Yes.
In this game, you're going to be first drafting cards, and then you're going to be using those cards and playing them in trick-taking. The way you do that is you'll choose a territory you want to play in, and then you'll play a card that matches a suit of that territory, or it can be the royal white, the wild suit. Yeah. Now, everybody else will play a card. Now, this is not a must-follow trick-taking game. You don't have to follow the suit, but you'll want to if you want to win, or you want to play the white suit, the wild suit, and you want to play the highest, because the highest of the lead suit will win the trick. If you win the trick, you'll get the top ability of the card. If you lose the trick, you'll get the bottom ability of the card. Yeah. And the catch is all the cards are resolved in numeric order. So the lowest will always go first and then go all the way to the highest. So sometimes the winner will be right in the middle. Sometimes the winner will be at the end. You never quite know when the abilities will trigger. The abilities of the cards will essentially let you take control of territories. They'll let you gain coins and renown, move along the marriage track. There'll be Vikings that will raid villages if certain thresholds are met. And of course, you'll build monastery to support the churches. So a little bit of everything in this game to try to score the most victory points that you can. And then the lead player will then place on another territory, and you'll continue the process until you've come to the end of the game. There's a lot of different ways to score points, and again, trick-taking really molds how this game is played. Similar to how Arcs is. I think they're honestly quite good comparisons, although this one I think is a little bit more trick-taking than Arcs.
I would say this one is more trick-taking than Arcs. I will say, though, that because it doesn't have a follow suit rule, and because of some of the actions that you're able to get based on the cards that you have, there are often times where you'll actually play out of suit intentionally so that you can get the bottom actions instead, because they're actually pretty good. Because if they're high cards out of suit, they're like, the bottom actions are pretty solid. And same thing can be said as like if you win a card with a lower win a suit or win a trick with a lower number in that suit, that top actions are really good too. So it's interesting to have to time that and then also be able to like manage all of the things that are going on, because you do want to dip your toes into at least a few of the things that are going on in Brian Boru. You don't have to go into everything, but you typically end up doing that.
It's just a really good balance, and it's for anybody who likes a little bit more strategy games that want to throw in that trick-taking as a twist. This is a game that's very solid. We've enjoyed it in our many plays. The way you react to other players, the way that the game kind of continues to evolve over time, it's really fun.
Brian Boru gets a B for me. B for Brian Boru.
Are you just alliterating?
Maybe. B.
C for Seas of Strife, B for Brian Boru. Brian Boru also gets a B for me. Again, it's not, if we're saying we're going to go play trick-taking games, it's not the first one that comes to my mind. It's a fantastic game. I really enjoy it. I think the way that they use it, trick-taking, is very fun and really purposeful, and I would not have it any other way. But for that reason, it is a B.
Yeah. I do think when teaching this game also, trick-taking is maybe mentioned, but it's not the core thing that is spoken around the table when you're trying to learn it. So yeah, Brian Boru.
B for Brian Boru. Next we have a game called Cosmos.
Boom.
Now, this game, you don't want to win tricks.
You don't, no.
And it also has a very similar aspect to Seas of Strife, where the majority of the suits is the one that will win the trick.
Yeah.
But it has a really fun twist. They're called collisions. Now, in this game, if you play a card and someone plays the same rank card, they collide and they flip down, which means the lead suit could be gone.
Yeah.
And you could be the lead player if you're the third player to play the card and the first two have flipped over. Also, it could happen that all the cards collide. That's called a big bang.
Big bang.
And if a big bang occurs, the starting player will collect that trick.
Which is bad.
Collecting tricks is bad. For your player count, there's a threshold of how many tricks one player collects. That is the endgame trigger, and the player who collects the lowest amount of tricks will win. The simplicity. So I feel like this game has a couple of core aspects of just like you must follow. If you don't follow, like the majority of the suits will win, or the majority of the suits will determine which suit will win the trick based on the higher rank. And the collision's thrown in there. It's a nice, once you teach it, it's a nice simple addition of mechanics.
Yeah.
And it just plays so well, and it's so much fun. But I will say, it's not fun when you get on a losing streak, where everyone decides to collide. It's time to collide, everybody. The starting player will just collect a bunch of tricks, which happens from time to time.
It does, yeah.
But your goal is to avoid that as part of the collector of the universe.
Okay, there are a couple things that you are missing that I will mention right now, is that there are, even though there are four suits plus a trump, I believe, there's numbers that reoccur within the suit. So there's like 2 8s, 2 7s, 2 6s, etc., etc. I think there's only 1 9 and 1 1 2
lower
and 3.
Numbers,
So like that those exist. The trick though is that you have to still follow suit if you can, and that's another way to help yourself play out a card and then hope that somebody else has it, because if they only have that card, they have to play it, and you're guaranteed to get you're guaranteed to cause a collision.
Collide
so you're
with
safe.
me.
Yeah. So, and you can like entice people. So that's the fun part about it, is you get to play these cards and you get to entice people to collide with you so that you aren't winning the trick, or the individual that plays the card is not winning the trick.
You may, before you jump in, you may be wondering, why would I collide with somebody if they're going to play a high card and just win that trick? I want them to win tricks. Well, you want to get rid of your high cards too, because if you don't play your high cards, you're going to win those tricks eventually. So it's kind of a win-win for both of you.
And to the point that Ilya was making about if you're the starting player and there's a big bang that happens and you end up winning the trick, as a person who sees somebody play one of those high cards, it is actually really beneficial for me to play that, because I'm likely not... I don't think in most instances you're never going to win that trick.
Never.
So you like save yourself from that.
Saved.
The other thing that I need to mention that Ilya didn't mention is, even though you have to follow suit, if there is a collision and there's no card up, the next person will determine the suit. But if there's a card out that is one suit and then another card is played that is another suit, you have to follow the first card. If you can't, you have to follow the second card. So there's no, I'm just going to get rid of a card for the sake of it. You still have to follow it. And that's where the majority thing comes into play, where it could end up being bad for you or detrimental for you, depending on the card that you end up playing.
And there's also a trump suit, and it works as a classic kind of gated trump suit. As soon as it's broken, people can start and lead with it, and that's the whole aspect of it too.
The trump suits are scary in this too.
Yeah.
You really want to use them to collide, in my opinion. And the last thing I'll say about this game is I think that it is very like it's kind of a take thatty game, I would say. Is if you are given the opportunity to kind of mess with somebody, you can take it.
Is there a character that's take thatty daddy?
Take thatty daddy? No, not me. That's for sure. Not me.
That's
all right, what are you giving this one?
Format. I feel like just by luck, I promise all my games are not going to hit this letter grade because I feel like a lot have. But for me, this is an A. It's the mechanic set is very simple, and all the rules, none of them are like, oh, I can't believe I forgot that rule. It's a very intuitive how you're playing everything. Also, every hand has a potential for that big bang moment, literally. You could play a card, you're like, oh, I guess I'm taking this one. And then someone slyly looks at you and be like, I also have an 8. You're saved. Yeah. And it's fun. Every single card you play has a potential to be that moment. And once someone gets a lot of tricks, you can start, if you don't have a lot, you kind of want to pile to them. All the other people might be ganging up on you and trying to make sure that they don't collide with you, so you win some tricks. There's just a lot of really fun aspects in this game. There's also a mini expansion that continues to elevate the game. There's also a variant where if you collect all the 9s, for example, all the tricks you want actually don't count. But it's hard to kind of keep track of all the 9s. It's kind of like the shooting
hard
the moon
to do.
aspect.
We haven't played with it, but it seems pretty hard to do.
It's a really, really solid game. And I said, again, it borderlines S for me. I think it needs a few more plays and it can maybe move up there.
This one's an A for me, but it's not like borderline S for me. I think it's just like, it's in an A.
It's a solid A for you.
It's a solid A. Yeah. might even say it's like a lower A
Oh,
minus territory.
A minus
But I'm not
territory.
doing that. I'm committing.
You just said it's an A minus.
It's just an A. It's just
Okay.
an A.
Okay. That's Cosmos. Next up, we got
Fishing. I feel like this is a newer one. This has to be pretty.
It is a
new.
newer one, yeah.
But in Fishing, this is like a almost deck building-esque trick-taking game. I say that almost because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be dealt from the basic cards. Everybody's going to be dealt a hand, and you're going to play it out. For all the tricks that you win, you're going to score points, but you're also going to add them to your net zone, I think. Boat zone, one of the zones, and then that will eventually become your deck that you're drawing from at the start of the next round. If when you start the next round you can't draw any more cards, but you aren't at that threshold of the cards you need, you draw from the fun deck in the middle. And those cards are basically leveled up cards all the way down to like 5-star, I believe. And the cards get better. They get higher. They introduce higher trumps. They introduce different abilities. So this game becomes this interesting round by round of, is it my turn to win a lot of tricks? Is it my turn to maybe get rid of a lot of my cards? Because then then once you do, you get to draw new cards, and then you kind of have to like push and then ebb and flow with what's going on in the game. So I found it quite interesting because you'll definitely see similar cards, but you kind of get an idea of like what's all out there and even who has what. And you can kind of pay attention to what is going on while you are playing.
And the abilities are really fun too, because sometimes
Abilities
you can snag a single card from a trick. Sometimes you can give a player negative points for winning that card. The buoys that are thrown in there, it definitely shakes the game up from round to round. And
it does, yeah.
Also, there's more cards, I believe, that you're dealt with as the game continues, so that your hands get bigger, and you're just doing more fishing as the game goes.
And you don't want your deck to get too big either, because like at the end of it, like when you're drawing all these cards, you might have really, really small cards, and you'll lose a lot of tricks, which again can be beneficial if you time it right. So all of this said is like this timing aspect is like pretty important, and then. For example, you can win a lot at the beginning and then lose a lot during the middle. But then if you're able to like do it right, you can definitely win a lot at the end, and then you'll like come back.
Which could win you the game.
Yeah. I think this gives people a lot of good feelings, a lot of maybe bad feelings as well. Because once you get the strategy going, you're like, oh, I'm actually supposed to be losing right now. Like this feels good. But then there are those moments where you're like, this hand is really bad. There's nothing I can do about it.
Or you're confident you're going to win a trick and then you don't.
Yeah. But that's trick taking. So.
That is trick taking. What would you give fishing as a letter grade?
Fishing for me is an A. Mostly because I think it's because of the interestingness of the deck getting, the games getting more interesting by people drawing from the center deck.
It is. It's a really fun way to kind of introduce all of that in there. This one's a bit lower for me. I think it's a B. I don't think it's quite a C.
A bit lower.
A bit lower. Just a letter grade. B. Every time I play this game, I ask myself a question. And that is, if I just play cards randomly, do I have a chance of getting a close score to everybody else? I don't think the answer is yes. I think there's definitely strategic ways to win and lose tricks in this game. But you're almost rewarded either way. Because you are able to get better cards, which sometimes can win over any other cards. And honestly, I want to test that theory in one game. But the reason I haven't is the second point is this game feels a little long.
It is a little long, yeah.
That's the other aspect is if this game was over halfway through the game, I feel like it'd be a solid, did I say it's a B or a C?
You said solid B.
Maybe it is a C. No, it's a B minus.
No. Is it a B or is it a C?
It is a B,
okay.
But it has a minus.
No, it's a B. It's a B.
So, I feel it's a really fun game. I feel like you like it a lot, but I feel like there's not a lot of strategy, which is what I would have wanted to see more in this game.
Fair.
That's my fishing.
Next
up, we have Lunar.
Boom.
Now, this is a 2 or 4 player game. And I will say the 4 player game is the better version of this game.
Play it at 4, actually. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Play it at 4. Now, in this game, you're going to be dealt a hand of ranks, which are numbers, and a hand of suits.
Yes.
And you're going to be playing with your teammate, where one of you will play one of the cards, and the other has to play the other. So if I play a number, Tyler has to play that suit.
Yes.
And then the rest is traditional trick taking. There's also a really fun element of where you get to decide the trump together as a collective. So each of you will flip over the trump or the values of the suits until only one remains, which does become the trump. And you'll play over numerous rounds, aiming to hit a different threshold of tricks to score a certain amount of points.
Yes.
And if you do, you'll get those points. And the first team to reach 30 points will win the game. It's a fun element to not be able to play the entirety of the card. Because you could be leading into something and saying, well, you know what? We're going to go high. But if the suit comes out all of a sudden from the other player, then that suit is set and you must follow it. And that becomes a little bit difficult.
I will say that because of the way that it works, like with the teams and the points that you score, it's not like you get a point for every trick. Obviously, this is probably intentional, but you score points for like not getting a lot of tricks. And then there's like a medium high where it's like 7 tricks out of the 7 to 10. I can't remember the exact numbers, but there's a threshold that will get you the most points. And I think that's where the game really shines, because you are playing against this team who is trying to sabotage you at points, or trying to just win the tricks for themselves, or maybe even sabotage themselves. So you have these points where you're like, oh, okay, like these are the things that need to happen for these things to work out for me, but I don't want them to score. So it's a lot of thinking that goes on. Plus, you have to kind of react to how your teammate does things too. So that's always like a good little flow that I think is pretty neat in this Lunar game.
It is a B for me.
A B for you?
I feel like it's solid. It's fun. It throws in a different twist that I haven't really seen. I like team games. Team trick-taking games are some of my favorite games, in all honesty. But it's not better than many other team trick-taking games that I would rather play.
That is fair.
So it's at a B for me.
Yeah, I am going to put this one at a C, actually. Okay. I think there's a lot... I'm just talking about the 4-player game because I don't actually enjoy the 2-player game. I think what's the Sky cards or whatever? Yeah. I think that's a little... It's just a no. It's just a no for me.
In a 2-player game, you're playing one card from your hand and one from the Sky, which is collective and open information between the 2 players.
Yeah, so the fact that it's open information between the 2 of us... Anyways, I'm just saying you should play it at 4. So that's dinged marks for me, so I'm going to drop it a little bit lower in this. I think that the uniqueness of having those suits and then those number cards are actually really cool, but you do kind of get stuck in this space where you feel bad that you're determining one part of it, but the next player has to determine the other part of it, and it just feels it felt a little off, I guess.
Fair.
Yeah. But that's Lunar.
That is Lunar. Next we have Nokosu Dice.
Boom.
Now, this is a trick-taking game that uses dice and cards.
Yes.
And the color of a dice is essentially the suit that the cards would be. Now, what's really fun is at the beginning of each round, you will actually draft dice that you will play for the round. And the one die
that is left over
is the trump, color, and number.
Yeah.
And number here is actually stronger than the suit.
Yes.
But the strongest is obviously if it's the same number and color. So then the dice that you've won, you'll rearrange based on that just to help you visualize it. And they serve a second function. They will indicate your bid for the game based on the one that is left over.
Yeah.
So you'll actually play those dice as the game comes out. You'll follow suit. You can play from your hand or from the dice if you have them in both. But if you have only them in the dice, you have to play them from the dice. Yeah. So you have to follow suit in that collective. So essentially it's like players can see part of your hand. They're just in the dice form.
Which is actually really important when you're playing a game.
Very important. And the last dice left over is how many tricks you want to win. So if the pips say 2 and you won 2 tricks, that is fantastic. Now, it is a must-follow game. It's a very read the other player game. But the scoring in this game is quite harsh.
Very harsh.
But really fun.
Yeah.
You'll get a point for every trick that you won. And if you've met your bid, you'll score a denominative of 10 points. Denominative? Is that even a word?
No.
Denomination?
Yeah. You'll just score 10 points.
10 points times the amount of players that did not meet their bid. Yeah. So if everyone met their bid, 0 bonus points.
Okay.
But if only you met your bid in a 4-player game, you'll score an extra 30 bonus points.
Now, I'm either bad at this game or I don't know. Maybe I'm just bad at this game.
Maybe you just had an unlucky game.
I think the way that this game works is that not a lot of people are going to be successful. So you will get, like, not everybody at the table is going to be successful. So the people who are successful really benefit from it. And I think rightfully so.
I also forgot to mention is you can actually bid that you're going to win 0 tricks.
True.
You'll collect the black die and you'll have to get rid of a die. And then if you get 0 tricks, you'll score an extra 10 points. Plus whatever the bonus for other players not meeting theirs is. The selecting of the dice is such an interesting element because it gives you flexibility in how many cards you can win or how many bids you can win because you can see the cards, but you'll also begin to eliminate potential colors and numbers of what the trump will not be. And that's the really interesting and collective part. And you're almost sitting there just agonizing over what that last die will be because it will really indicate how you'll play your hand and what your strategy will be for that game.
Yeah, part of me thinks actually the draft is a little a blue herring?
The red herring, I think is the term.
I think that like the draft is really, really interesting, but also there's a lot of you don't have a lot of control over what's going on. So often when I'm playing the game, I'm actually hoping that I can get like maybe a variety of different things, but also am I actually with the hand that I have right now, regardless of what the trump might be, will I be able to win the dice that I have taken? Because the trick here is that if I don't have any red cards in my hand, but I have red dice, but the red dice is also the one that I'm like most confident in the tricks that I'll win, somebody can just play a red card and now I'm forced to play because I have to follow suit. So I think like that's a really interesting aspect to it. I think that there's a lot going on in this game. I will say the one downside to this game is that the single die in the middle that determines color and number can get missed when you are playing tricks. So you'll be playing through your hand and you'll play like the thread 3, which is the most powerful card in this example that I'm using, but you didn't want to actually win the trick. I think that
maybe you are bad at this game.
No. I think that is a common mistake and occurrence because in trick-taking games, most people are so used to having the high card win, so they see like the 7 out there already, and you're like, oh, okay, I can just toss this card.
It does,
right?
It does take a little bit of getting used to.
I think the fact that I'm not gonna give it this is a great game. I love this game. It's not S tier because of the reasons that I am saying, basically. Okay.
Well, what are you gonna give it?
I'm giving this one an A.
An A. Yeah. For those reasons.
For those reasons.
Okay. Yeah. I will give this an S.
Yeah, I figured.
I really like this game. And I think for the reasons, again, it's so interesting because some of the games I don't like for these reasons. But this one, it really works for me. It does take a while, like Tyler said, to rewire your brain to start thinking in the way that you need to think. But that's why I also really like your little board that you have, because I think it can give you a little bit of, and even your reference card, because it kind of gives you the tiers of how each suit is evaluated. And once you play it once, I think it is ingrained in your system that you're always looking for number. You're always looking for the number and the suit that's the same as a die, then the number, then the suit, then the highest rank, and then everything else. And once you get used to that, the strategy potential in this game is just huge. The upsets of flushing out that last color, like somebody could have a 2 and a 5, and they have their 2 tricks one. They're like, yes, I got this. This is such an easy one for me. Except you flush out their 2, and now they can't win the 5 tricks. Yeah. That happens more often than not because that decision from when you lock in the amount of cards you're going to win or the amount of tricks you're going to win with that die is really interesting, because if you don't do it early, you have a lot of flexibility. But that flexibility is lack of control later in the game because other players can see what you're doing and really push in one way or the other based on what they have in their hand.
Yes.
It's very clever. It's extremely fun. Would play this game anytime, any day.
There you go. Nokosu Dice.
Next up we have for Northwood. It's a solo trick-taking game.
If there's a section on the did not play, this would be for me. I think it's adorable though, just like a little lion.
You honestly should play it. I think you would like it.
I say I'm gonna get into solo games, but I don't know.
I played this one, and I'm here to tell you about it. I'm here to give you a letter grade. Now, in 4 Northwood, you're going to be communicating with rulers of the animal kingdom, fiefdoms. Correct me on the theme if I get some of this wrong, but basically
the same thing. Fiefdom and king, well, similar things.
You're going to different fiefs, convincing rulers to be united with all the other animals. Now, you'll have a deck of cards, and then you'll have allies, which are jacks in the introductory game. Mm-hmm. And you'll have the 8 fiefdoms you can visit. Each of the fiefdom will have an amount of tricks you can win, ranging from 0 to 7, I believe. Now, you'll look at your card, and you'll decide which fiefdom you want to go to. Mm-hmm. Say, I want to win 4 tricks. Then, you'll play tricks against the deck, trying to win that exact amount. Now, the deck will play a card from the top of the deck, and then you'll play, and then the game will continue as normal trick-taking games work. And whoever wins will lead, however that will work. Okay. But you may think, there's so much randomness in that. You might as well just throw cards, and what's going to happen? Well, that's where your allies come into play.
Right. Okay.
Your allies have various abilities that will help you navigate, potentially draw more cards into your hand, discard some of the cards you don't want, limit the amount of tricks you play for that round so you can potentially win one of the lower trick fiefs. And that's where it gets really fun, because also if you manage to succeed in having a discussion at the fief, the ruler that is there can temporarily come for another round and give an ability instead of one of your allies. So your abilities scale up, you can use different abilities and help you win the amount of tricks that you want to win. Mm-hmm. It was so much fun. I played this once and I want to play it again. And better yet, there's a campaign mode.
Oh, cool.
Which throws in a various amount of twists. There's also different types of rulers that are thrown into this introductory game to kind of show you how the game is played. But then there's like a standard way of playing the game. That with a campaign mode, this game is stellar. Right. I'm not a big solo player. This is one I'll be playing again, which says a lot because, again, I don't play a lot of solo games.
Neither of us really do.
And for that, and I'm going to convince Tyler to play it because I actually think he would have a really good time. Maybe I'll sit him down right after this video. And then he'll come back and give you a letter grade.
What's this?
But with that said, the letter grade I'm giving it is an A. That's for Northwood. Next up we have Skull King.
Which some might say is a classic.
Who?
I don't know.
Some, I guess. So it is, before we get into opinions, here's what Skull King is. Mm-hmm. In this game, you'll get a various amount of cards based on the round that it is, starting with 1 card and moving up. Then you'll play trick-taking and try to score the most points that you possibly can throughout all of this. There's also cards with various abilities like Pirates, the Tigress, Skull King, and Mermaid at the base game. And at the start of every hand, you'll actually bid how many tricks you think you'll win that round.
Yeah.
You'll get 20 points for every trick you won, but if you don't meet your bid, you'll lose 10 points for the difference.
Right.
You also can bid 0, and if you get 0, you'll earn 10 times whatever the round it is, or however many cards are in your hand.
Yes.
And if you don't meet it, you'll actually lose that amount. It's very volatile.
Yes.
And last, there's also cards that will score you additional points, like the 14 or the character cards that have a variety of points. The characters as well interact differently with each other. The mermaids
it's like a triangle. It's like a rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah, it's a rock, paper, scissors. The tigers can be played as a pirate or it can be played as a pass card. There's also pass cards.
Yeah.
And essentially, in a nutshell, that is Skull King.
I think actually probably maybe a good one to talk about here is Wizard, because I compare this one to Wizard a lot.
Well, we'll do Wizard after.
Okay, we will do Wizard after this. But my first qualm with this game is how long it is. I think this one, like Wizard, takes a little too long to play. But I enjoy this game. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's one of those games where you can play up to 8 players. It's the standard trick taking with that triangular twist. And then also it's simply bidding, but the way you do it is like, I think it's yo ho ho, and then everybody does it like simultaneously. And then you say how many tricks you're gonna win.
That's fun.
You write it all down. I think that's a cute little aspect or thematic. It goes with the game.
It does go with the game. You have your little trick tracker, and it's all. I like that part of the game. Now, many of you may know I do not like this game.
Yeah.
This is not a game for me. if I had an option to play it or not to play it, I will choose not to play it 10 out of 10 times. And honestly, I don't think it's a bad game. There's a ton of people that love this game. It is just not for me. So here's a few reasons. Reason number one is I think there's so many things you need to remember. And I've played this game numerous times. Mm-hmm. I still have to reference and cross-check and ask questions, and it's just not an intuitive game to introduce people to. Right. You can say, but Ilya, you only start with one card. It's so obvious of what you do in the beginning. Yeah, but if you're in the midst of the game, and all of a sudden someone's like, oh, but if I played a mermaid and you played a pirate, but the Skull King came out, the mermaid must win because it's all of these things are above. Let us check the rule book, and then kind of come to it. And yes, you catch on to those things, but then the game throws more abilities, and people who really like this game all of a sudden want to play with all these other cards, and it just throws more at you. You don't have to, but it's a lot more. Mm-hmm. The second aspect of it is the points are very punishing.
It is.
Well, 20 times of what you're winning is quite a lot of points. And if you don't make the trick, you actually lose points. And the zeros they're very volatile, where like if it's a later round, you get a ton or you lose a ton, which is how zeros should be, but maybe not that much. I think the point tinkering could have done a bit more because a lot of the games that I've been a part of have been blowouts.
Right.
And I think that's kind of like the general gist of it.
I know you don't like the administration.
Well, the administration too. I think that kind of has to do with like who does want to do with everybody else. And yes, it says the points on a lot of the cards. You kind of learn of what you're doing. But when you have to think through so many different things, it takes you out of the game. And when everyone has to take that little score pad to track everyone's specific little points for every different things, it feels like you're doing endgame scoring every round, which takes you out of the game. And I think that's why the yo-ho-ho exists. It's like, no, guys, we're playing Skull King. Let's get back to it. Yo-ho-ho. We're not doing Excel formula over here. Mm-hmm. Again, it's not a bad game. I know many people love this game. It is just not a game for me, and for that, I will give it a C.
A C. Wow. Actually, after you saying that, I thought you were going to give it a D.
Well,
I think that's really surprising to me.
D, I think, are games that are just, they need work. I don't think Skull King needs work, because a lot of people really like Skull King. It's just not a game that I want to play.
Yeah. I'm giving Skull King a B. I think it's a fine game. I just don't think, I think strictly actually because it takes a bit long to play, that I don't necessarily enjoy that. Obviously, I understand why people like that, but I also think that it gets really chaotic at 8 players. And it's one of those games where I can appreciate it being played at 8, but also at the same time, a lot of the things that Ilya said, like, I definitely echo with when you're playing at a higher, like 6, 7, and 8 players. I think that is a lot. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And that's Skull King.
That is Skull King. Now, it wouldn't be a part 2 if there wasn't a part 2 in filming of the part 2 video.
Inception. Part 2 of part 2.
Tyler got sleepy, so we had to wait till the next day. That's why we have our coffees.
And we were also going to do the sneaky thing where I was just going to wear the same shirt. We were just going to wear the same shirt, so none of you would know. None of you would know.
But
except I decided to shave, and I had quite the stubble beforehand, so...
Now you know. Now you know. But Tyler, you just mentioned Wizard.
I know.
So we should probably talk about Wizard next.
We should, because we just finished talking about Skull King.
Exactly. Now, Wizard is a very similar to... This is a classic.
This is... I think Skull King is actually probably based off of Wizard.
It has to be.
I would not be surprised.
The DNA is just very similar.
Yeah.
But it's very similar in a way that your hand size is depending on the round. So you start with 1 card, you go to 2 cards, round 2, etc., etc. And you're also making bids on how many tricks you think you're going to win.
Yes.
And there's also player power cards. Technically, not really. There's wizards that beat every other card, and then there's jesters that lose to every other card.
Yeah. And there's a trump suit. For every hand that you're playing, you'll reveal a card, and that will be the trump suit that is for the round, except for the last hand, where I believe in all instances, all cards will have been dealt out.
Which is fun.
And then there's no trump suit, so the wizards are even more powerful. Well, wizards are always powerful.
And that's right. In a 3-player game, that's 20 cards in your hand. Mm-hmm. That's how many, and then you gotta figure out how many tricks you're gonna win with those 20 cards.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a long game, but it's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. And the points are a little less punishing.
They are,
because you get, if you meet your bid, you get 20 points plus 10 points for every trick you win.
Yeah.
And if you don't meet your bid, you lose 10 points for the difference of how many tricks you won and what your bid is.
Yeah, so if I bid 5 and I only won 3, I would lose 20 points because of the 2-point difference.
And you can bid 0, but you only get 20 points if you win because you just met your bid.
Yeah, so this one is actually like, you want to win points. You want to win tricks. You want to get your bid right.
I love Wizard. Again, it's the simplicity in those classic games that leave you coming back and playing again and again and again. This is a game we can pull out every evening, have a little score pad, and just have fun.
Yeah.
You don't have to overthink anything. It comes very intuitively. All you're thinking is in the tricks that you're gonna like. How many tricks do you think you're gonna win? How with the cards that you have? What is the trump? How are you gonna play with all of this? It's a ton of fun, and for that, I would give it an A.
An A. I will say similar things. I do like Wizard more than Skulking. I think that there is a point to be said about the length of the game, which I totally understand. I have a lot of nostalgia of like maybe just like I needing to have to do something with my hands, but sitting around a table, hanging out with some friends, and actually just playing cards. Wizard being amongst them, I think is really like core for me. But that being said, I think because of the length of the game and just like, no, just that really. It's better than Skulking, but I'm still giving it a B.
So it's the same as Skulking.
Yeah, I guess.
And that is Wizard. Now, speaking of classic card games, let's jump into Spades.
Spades, okay.
Now, in Spades, you're playing as teams. And your goal is to meet the amount of tricks that you bid as a team.
As a team, yeah.
So you'll each bid individually, but you can help each other meet the collective bid.
Yeah, that's what I find really actually the most interesting.
And spades are always a trump suit, but it has to be broken in order for it to be played. So someone has to play it out of suit for it to be led as the first card.
Yeah, exactly.
And essentially that's the game. You're going to deal out the whole deck, so 13 cards to each player, a 4-player game. You're going to make your bids, and you're going to play alternating partners until you've played all your hands. If you've met your tricks, you get 10 points for every trick that you've met. And if you have more tricks than what you've bid, you'll get bags. And if you get a collective amount of 10 bags over the course of the game, you actually lose 100 points. Now, you can also bid 0, which will score you either 50 or 100 points if you meet your 0 bid. And your partner will definitely help you with that. Your opponents will definitely try to prevent that. And then there's some fun variants in this game as well. One of my favorite is a blind nil, which is if you're behind 100 points, you can blind nil. You can bid nil without looking at your hand.
That's wild.
And then you can exchange 2 cards with your partner to help.
Oh, there is an extra step to it. Okay. I didn't realize that part.
But that's fun because you get to catch up, and sometimes you'll plan to be 100 points behind because maybe you're like 60 points behind and it's pretty hard to catch up. So maybe you'll plan to give them a few bags and then go behind and then get that blind nil. And it's so much fun. You can play to 300, play to 500. There's a lot of different house rules with this types of game. And I will say, this is one of my favorite trick-taking games.
So does that make it an S for you?
It does make it an S for me. I have a shameful confession. There's a game online I play called Puzzle Pirates.
I knew exactly where I was going with this. I knew it.
And in Puzzle Pirates, I used to.
I'm pretty sure you only play.
I only played for Spades. Sometimes I play Hearts because Hearts is also.
No, there's a couple other puzzles that you end up playing.
I used to when I was younger. I used to play the game religiously, but now I just go there for the nostalgia, and you can play Hearts or Spades in there. So there's a Spades community there, and I play probably a couple games a day.
Oh, 100%.
So if you want to play Spades with me, feel free to make a Puzzle Pirates account.
If you already have one, fantastic. You
just tell, and my name is Ilya there, so it'll be pretty obvious. But I love Spades. It is a mess for me. It is a fantastic game.
I think Spades for me is an A, but you know the thing with Spades? I think the game gets better over time. And it sounds weird because you're like, oh, hang on, I'm just playing cards. So like, I'm just playing cards. How does this game evolve over time? But even just like the teammate aspect of it against the other team, trying to then like make sure they're not getting their score, but also making sure you get yours. That interesting part of bidding I find quite fascinating. The fact that you can share those tricks with your team too. I think a lot of strategy ends up evolving the more and more you play it. I will say that there's a lot of back and forth. If you're playing with good people, there's a lot of back and forth. So a lot of the times, like, you'll be going up, you'll be going down, you'll be going up, you'll be going down in scores, and then it gets like really, really close. But you can have things that are like, if you're playing to 300, somebody could be at 250, you could be at like 60, but then like a couple rounds later, you'll be at 200 and they'll be at like 100. So like there's ways that drag the game out, and similar to some of these older trick-taking games, I think the length for me is like a deterring factor. But still,
I wonder if that's like our modern board game brain, because we're so used to smaller games.
This is my modern board game brain game, and also my ADHD.
Fair. But I do think like we're okay with playing those big boxes for 3 to 4 hours. But if we play like a small card game for 3 to 4 hours, it almost feels like wrong.
It's too
Which like, I don't think it should.
You know what? Actually, funny, because the conversation that I've been having with a couple people before this, and reminds me of something we've talked about before, is also like cutesy art on really heavy games. So there's like,
or mean games,
or like so there's like this preconceived notion of what our expectations are, and I think like now that there's so many games out there, there's a lot of like ties being drawn to these things, but also that are being broken, and it's hard to know that it's something you decide on until you've actually played it and you're like, this game actually did feel too long, but like, why is that a problem?
Why is it a problem?
Maybe
if you're having fun. I think if at any point you're thinking this feels long, that's when you're not having fun anymore. Yeah. So, and with Spades, I never feel that. There's been games where I've played for hours.
Well, let's get on to the next game then.
Which is?
Cat in the Box.
A quantum trick-taking game. Why is it quantum? Well, because when you play your card, you'll determine the suit there and then.
Yes.
So
Schrodinger's cat.
There's no suit until there is a suit.
Until there's a suit, yeah.
And your whole goal is to...
Schrodinger's cat? Schrodinger's box.
Cat,
okay.
Well, in the box...
The concept is the box. Yeah, okay, never mind. Continue.
Anyway, you're also going to be bidding how many tricks you're going to win in this game. And then...
But you can only bid a certain number, because you're left with your little character
the little board based on your player count.
I think it's like... I can't remember the exact
It's based on your player count, So sometimes it's different. But you'll bid what you think you're going to win, and then you'll play tricks. When you play a card, you'll declare the suit, and then you'll do the whole must-follow suit. If you can't or don't want to, you can play cards of other suit, but then you can no longer play within that suit.
Yes.
So you'll have little X's that you'll take out and go from that point on. Now, if you meet your bid, you'll score points for every trick you've won, plus a bonus of the largest set of cubes you've created on the board by placing...
Contiguous group.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, the other thing you can do is you can cause a paradox, which is when the cards in your hand no longer exist on the board because they've been played, because only one card can be played of each suit. And if that happens, you'll actually lose a point for every trick you've won. So you play over several rounds. It's...
Well, hold on. The key point here, too, actually, that you're missing is that when you are void of a suit, and you have to play out of suit, or when you're void of a suit, when you choose to play out of suit, you actually have to remove that cube color from your board, and you can no longer play in that suit. And that is both a strategic decision that can be beneficial and can negatively impact you, because it's more likely you'll cause a paradox with the less number of suits that you're able to play.
That's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of planning that you have to do, because building that grid of cubes is also very satisfying.
It's satisfying, yeah.
But sometimes it's a red herring, because you're like, I'm going to build this grid of suits, but if you don't get the tricks, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Yeah. So, or if you cause the paradox, like there's just layers in this game that just make it so much fun to come back to. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. The one thing that I really like about this game is I feel like there's a lot of intentionality in the decision of what suit you play and what cards you actually keep, because you do discard a card, I believe, at the beginning of the hand, and you're likely not going to play all of your cards unless, like, I don't know, it's a perfect hand. The other thing with this too is even if you do get your bid, you still have to be able to finish it out until nobody can play any cards or until a paradox is reached. You have to be very careful that it's not you that reaches their paradox, because then your goal or your bid that you've made doesn't mean anything. You've lost because you can't be the one that causes the paradox.
That is true. What letter grade would you give Cat in the Box?
So this one is actually pretty high on my list. I'm going to give Cat in the Box an S.
Ooh, a rare Tyler S.
I really like this game. I think there's a lot of decision space. And then I think that even if you are playing well, you have to plan well with your little grid, and you have to be able to not cause a paradox. But the fact that you can cause a paradox is always going to keep you on your toes on whether or not you should like try to win, try to lose, or try to like force other people into paradoxes.
I will give it an S.
Really? Okay.
It's a high A plus.
I thought
but I
maybe
think
A or
it crossed the line for me to an S, because honestly, it's such a good package in a game.
Mm-hmm.
The art makes sense for it. The rulebook is really thematic as well. It kind of throws a lot of those fun twists from the whole quantum aspect of this game, and it's really fun to first kind of begin to see how the game unravels and see how players interact with it. And it is a game that you can come back to easily again and just play really quickly, really swiftly, with a lot of twists and turns in each of the rounds. Lots of fun, and it's a game that we really enjoy pulling out. So that's Cat in the Box.
All right, next up we have a 2-player one called Lone Wolves. This is a lane battler trick-taking game. So there's 5 different suits, I believe, and the numbers range from 1 to 7. No, 2 to 7, because cards flip over. Yeah, 2 to 7. 2s will beat 7s, which is always an interesting thing, but everything else is as you would expect in a standard trick-taking game.
2s would beat 7s in the same suit.
Yeah. So on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to play a card into one of the zones. The opponent has to play another card following suit into any of the other zones. And basically, you're trying to fight for area control over those zones. And based on certain conditions, you'll score points for that at the end of the game. You'll also, if you win the trick, you'll leave your card face up. If you lose the trick, you'll turn your card face down, and then that is a lone wolf with a value of 1.
And if you lose the trick, you'll get a scar token.
Exactly, yes.
And scar tokens often give you a little bit of a bonus, or potentially give you game end points, or strengthen one of your territories.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to place your scar token in that territory. You can actually place it in any of your 5 territories.
Yes.
So a lot of the times, you may actually want to lose tricks to get that advantage.
Yeah, like you definitely do, because you can play into zones that you didn't think you are going to win in the first place. I find the combination of these 2 mechanics really interesting. I wasn't fully sold on it when I heard about the game. I thought, okay, maybe, like, to me it doesn't check that these 2 mechanics work together. But I was very surprised. I was pretty happy with how it worked out. And the scoring is pretty interesting too, because of those scar tokens and the ability to even flip the game end or the area values. Those are always fun. There is a way that a trump exists, and that's if all the scar tokens are emptied from one of the zones.
That's the first moon. That's the first. And then when the second zone gets empty, there's a blood moon. So the trump actually changes halfway through. So there's no trump, then one trump, then that trump ceases to exist, and a new trump come to play. And that's also an interesting amount of the game. You're kind of bouncing your hand and trying to figure out what are you going to do with that whole perspective too.
And you can play into the zone that is, because the zones are the suits. So you can play into that zone knowing that your hand is actually really strong for having that as a trump. And you can start going and playing through that. I found it very interesting.
Bluffing your opponent playing into that zone, thinking that you have a lot of good cards of that, but you don't.
So as a 2-player game, I thought it was really interesting. As a trick-taking game, I thought that was like a good little addition to it. What do you think?
I was like you. I think when I first read the rulebook, when I first looked at the game, I'm like, this doesn't feel too different from like a lane battler or those games that we're really used to. But playing it, I want to play it again. I want to play it more. There's also a different side of the board, which has a little bit of a synchronicity between the different zones. And it's honestly a really solid lane battler and a trick-taking game, which is really, really interesting to me, because I thought it kind of landed kind of in the middle for me right there too. The theme is also fun. The art is also lovely.
It is,
And I think the heart of the game is really those scar tokens, because you're only able to see some of them initially in the game, but the 3s actually let you peek at one as well. And that's a really interesting element, and kind of getting to figure out which scar you want in order to push by that 1 point or score that additional point at the end of the game to hopefully win.
I think for me, though, this game actually sits at a B. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing. It's smooth. It's clean. It plays really quick. You only play 1 hand. But as for a trick-taking game, it was a good little sprinkle, and I liked the mechanic mesh. But yeah, I'll toss it in B.
They're on the line.
I feel like right now, with the set of games we're talking about, this part 2, I have been very high with a lot of these.
Oh, you've
So,
been a little bit more generous?
No, I don't think generous. I just think that just happens
The part
to
two
be...
is just better.
Yeah.
I feel like I actually don't have Tyler has his tier list, but mine's in my head. And I feel like there's so many in the A category, but I think this one's an A for me.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Because, again, there's not a lot that I would change about this game. It's really clever. It's a fun twist on trick-taking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it does a really good mix. Trick-taking works in this sense.
It does, yeah.
And I would say this is a trick-taking game. But I would also call it a lame battler and kind of into the whole two-player realm as well. For all the reasons I said before, A, love it.
There you go.
Now, speaking of two-player games, let's jump into another one called Claim.
Oh, this is only a two-player game?
This is only a two-player game.
Is there another version that is...
I feel there's Claim 2.
Because there's a bunch of different claims, isn't there?
I think there's Claim 2.
Okay.
There may be a Claim 3, but I think you can mix and match factions. I don't know if you can scale up the player count.
Oh, okay. I'm being crazy. I'm going crazy.
So we have Claim. In Claim, this is a trick-taking game that's played in two phases.
Right.
Phase 1, you're going to get a set of cards, and one card is going to be revealed.
Dealt cards. You're going to be dealt cards.
You're going to be dealt cards in your hand, and then there's going to be a deck in the middle, and you're going to reveal one of the cards, and you're going to be trick-taking to potentially recruit that card to be part of your followers for the next phase. Yeah. If you win the trick, standard trick-taking rules, you will get that card into a pile for your supporters for the next round.
A separate pile, yeah.
The player who did not win the trick will get a card from the top of the deck, which they'll peek at and then hide. So the other player doesn't know what they're going to get. And then in the second phase, what you're going to do is you're going to play trick-taking with all the supporters you've acquired, and whoever wins the trick gets both the cards.
Yes, yeah. And then the factions have different things that apply at different times.
Yeah, the factions have different powers. For example, if you play the undead in the first phase, you actually score them for the end of the game. Yeah. Dwarves actually want to lose instead. There's doppelgangers as well. Yeah. So there's different faction abilities that kind of twist and turn how the game is played. But in general, it's just trick-taking in two phases of thematically recruiting followers and then using those followers to claim victory.
Yeah. This one was okay for me. I think the thing that I was lost on, or I got lost on, is actually the first phase. I like the bidding, or the trick-taking that's going on, but it's like bidding, uncontrolled bidding, because you don't know what the other person may have. And then the randomness of taking the card from the top felt a little not great. However, it can work out in your favor. It really can work out in the favor. Like, you sometimes look at some cards, and if you already know what you have, you don't want it, so you do try to lose the trick. But the randomness of what that card could be can really benefit you, or can kind of be at your detriment.
You either love it or you hate it. And I love the randomness and the really fun aspect of what could we do here.
The funny thing is I like randomness in select situations.
That's fair.
I think here it just didn't work for me.
But it is also kind of playing at the fact of, like, how do you adapt? And you're still deciding what you're going to play, what you're going to discard, and there is the whole trick-taking element to it.
Right.
But I think with that said, it is a B for me.
A B, okay.
I think it's really fun. It's a game that I would pull out. It's a really clever, fun two-player game. Also, there's Claim 2, which introduces a ton of new factions.
Yeah,
I believe you can mix and match.
I'm pretty sure that's why I'm getting confused with being two, because I thought it was more than two players.
It may be if you combine the games, but I don't remember.
Right. Okay.
But in general, I think the randomness is also a knock for me as well.
Yeah.
I think it'd be higher if there's a little bit more decision, because sometimes you're just stuck with those cards. But it's a quick game. You can play it again. And I think for those types of games, if you enjoy it, you'll really like Claim.
This one is a C for me. I think I've explained why enough. But yeah.
Is it because it's C for Claim?
C for Claim. Why not? Let's just go with that. There we go.
Watch out, the games that start with the letter D. Well, let's see if the theory remains true with Shamans.
Oh, are you suggesting Shaman should get an S?
Well, it starts with an S.
It does, yeah.
Now, this is a hidden role trick-taking game.
Yes.
Because at the beginning of the round, you're going to be either a shaman or a shadow. Now, with 5 players, there's actually 2 shadows, but typically there's only 1. And the way the game is played is you're going to play tricks, and the shadow's goal is going to be to progress that little marker all the way to the end, while the shaman's role is going to be to eliminate the shadow.
Yes.
Now, how do you eliminate the shadow? Well, there's abilities and tricks of all sorts in this game. If you entirely run out of cards of one suit, there's ritual effects that will happen for that ritual.
Yes, yeah.
There's also artifact effects that you'll gain if you lose it, if you have the lowest card in the trick. So you can get abilities to do various things in this game. And sometimes one of those things is revealing who you are. So maybe you'll tell everybody, I'm a shaman. Don't come for me.
Yeah.
Don't eliminate me. Because if you can eliminate shadows, and that will hopefully let the shamans win, because if there's two, that's tricky. Now the round will end if the shadow gets eliminated, in which case the shamans will win. Or if the shadow reaches the end of the track, in which case the shadows wins. Or if you reach the end of your hands. There's no more cards left in your hand, which is also the end of the round. Then you'll get points based on what the outcome is, and you're playing first player to play 8 points. So the rules change round to round. You can be a shadow and a shaman. You can try to bluff everybody and play the game. It's beautiful. It's also a really beautiful game.
Yes.
I feel like the presentation in this game is out of this world. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I've really enjoyed playing this game. It's very different. It utilizes a trick-taking mechanic in a way that I haven't seen personally before.
Yeah. This is what I'll say, is I actually really enjoy the game. I'm not going to rank it super high, but I do also think it's a sleeper game. I think that it's not as popular as it should be. I think there was a moment in time, and still even now, where those hidden role games were really popular. And I think Shamans is like one of those games that does that well, but adds like this other mechanic that I think people are familiar enough with that would enjoy it, that could pick this game up. The other thing that I really like about it is the switching of the roles. So you're not always stuck being the bad guy or the good guy. Like, you do get to switch it up throughout the game, which means you get to evolve your strategy as you go, and you get to kind of like work, especially if you're playing a high player count, you can game yourself into like figuring out who's who, and that can be a lot of fun.
Well, I think it has that element of you get so used to in kind of deduction game to be like, well, like we've done this before, like you and I should team up.
Yeah.
But now I'm the shadow, and little does Tyler know I'm using him to try to get ahead.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of like the meta evolves game to game, and it's really fun to play this with the same group because you get those tells.
And with different people too.
And different people too.
Of course, yeah.
Like it's a game that is good for any occasion. And for that, I'm going to give it... This is so hard for me.
Just give it a letter.
I think it's an A. I just feel bad. There's so many.
Okay. You have a lot of A games.
I have a lot of A
surprised
games.
I mean, I look at this list, and a lot of my games are A's and B's. I'm not surprised.
These are good trick-taking games, and there's no reason for me to give Shamans a lower grade because I have more A's. So I'm gonna give it a solid A. It's a fantastic game. I would play this game any day. That's it.
Yeah, this Shamans for me is a B. And I think I kind of explained why. I think I almost actually put it at a C because I'm not the biggest fan of social deduction games, but I like the role swap that this one does. Sort of like what Inside Job does. I think that those two games in themselves are like a great party trick-taking co-op, like hidden role type game that you can honestly have a game night on.
You could.
Yeah. There we go. Shamans.
Next up we have Fives.
Fives. How
Now,
big this box is.
This is
Fives across the board.
What's the re-implementation or it's an older game, but CMYK brought it in their Magenta line.
Was it called
recently.
Fives before?
It was called something very similar.
Yeah, I think re-implementation or revitalization. I don't know.
Anyway, this is Fives. This is a trick-taking game where you'll be trying to score the most points. Now, the way you do this is you'll be playing tricks, and if you win with a card that you win, you'll take that trick and place that card value face up. Now, you don't want to exceed 25 in the trick because then you bust, and you'll actually have to give one of your points to another player who was closest to 25.
Bid token, yeah.
And then the players that are closest to 25 and the second player as well will get points as well. Now, the cool aspect of this game, the twist in the trick-taking, is each of your cards is also a Magenta 5. And Magenta is one of the suits in this game. So you can, if a Magenta card is played, you can play any of your cards face down as a Magenta 5.
Yes.
Also, you can play any of your cards out. Like, there's different ways that you can play your Magenta 5s, but only one can be played per round.
Trick, yeah.
And that's, I think, the best part of this game. Because you could be planning, I'm going to play this card face down, I'm going to be safe, but then Tyler plays it, I'm stuck with a card, I have to play it, I've won the trick, I've busted.
Yes.
It's one of those games that has that classic feel.
Mm-hmm.
You come back to it, you develop strategies, there's a meta that gets formed, and you really try to decide what do you want to do with this hand of cards in order to make the best of this round.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The one thing about this game too is that because when you win a trick, you have to leave it out in front of you. You are showing everybody what you have. So then there are these moments, of course, where people are going to be ganging up on you, or at least trying to make you win some of these tricks, and then you end up busting. So you then turn on the defensive and try to take more tricks so that other people won't get to their points, or you try to throw them up higher so they also bust. It's quite interesting because you're not just trying to win X number of tricks. You're trying to plan from the cards in your hand how you're going to win them. Now there are cards from 1 or there is a 0 pink, but there's cards from 0 to 13. So you do have to kind of math your way to it, whether that being having like winning a trick with a 13 and then with a 12. That's often like a good thing to do, except you'll probably end up doing it pretty early, and then that's when people will start coming for you. And it's always interesting to see how it plays out. I think that, yeah, the strategy evolves over time, and it's always cool to see what goes on with this one.
Tyler loves to get 25 right off the bat.
I do. I like to play aggressive sometimes.
And then we're all like, we're just going to give you a trick. You're not going to make this.
Well, you know what's fun about it is like it's basic. In my opinion, this is like the shoot the moon is you like get the 13, you get the 25 right away. And then now you're like playing hard mode because you don't want to win any tricks. But it all, the twist all just happens, especially with that being able to play the 5, the magenta 5 down. I think that's where the game gets really interesting. And it adds that layer that I think if that didn't exist, I would not enjoy this game. But I'm obviously like, this is the design of the game. They intentionally did this. And for that, like that's the winning factor for me on this game.
I give this game an S.
Me too.
There's nothing I would change about this game. And again, I feel like every time we've shown this game to people, we've ended up playing many rounds of it. We ended up playing it again with people. It's been a request to bring back to play further. Yeah. It's a game that I want to continuously come back to. It just feels so good when you can make out the right cards and do the right things in this game. It just...
Yeah. And it doesn't have to work out perfectly either. You don't need the 25. You just need to be the closest to 25. It's just really good if you do get the 25. I will give one knock at it, but not the biggest fan of the card size. But that's
a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
cards.
they're bigger cards, but other than that, like that's like a very, very minor thing that I'm gonna take at it, but it's still an S for me as well.
The box is also a little big.
Especially for just
There's fun tokens in
but
it.
It's beautiful. Like,
it is beautiful.
The color palette.
Especially when you have all the 4 magenta games.
Yeah, that's true. Oh. There we go. 5. 5s.
Next up we have Fuego.
Also a very beautiful box.
Which you can play in teams. 2v2. Now Fuego is played in teams where you're trying to be the first team to win 2 rounds. I believe you can also play with 2 players, but I forget how...
So I know we've played this one in teams, but I don't remember how the 2-player version works particularly, but I vividly remember not enjoying the 2-player mode.
I feel like most games that are 2 or 4 player, like Lunar,
yeah,
I'd rather play the 4-player mode because I think it feels like that's how the game is meant to be played. But anyway, in this game you're going to be playing tricks under each of the cards, and you're going to be trying to win flames. Now when you win flames, you'll actually collect the flames from your opponents.
Yeah.
So the points will ever shift throughout the entire game. Now, additionally, if you play the same value of card, they both get flipped down. So kind of like Cosmos, it's kind of like a collision. So they get eliminated. They cannot win for that perspective. And when you do that, you'll actually get a strike token as well, which are modifiers. And you all start with 1, and they can change your values, change your cards, and kind of do various things in the game. There's also wildfire cards, which can be played to potentially win, but they also add flames to the winning trick.
Right.
So you can play them if your opponent is
like
winning.
A gamble.
Or if your partner is winning, you can play a flame token to boost their winning to potentially get more flame, which is another really fun element of the game.
Yeah.
And then you'll play for the round, and whoever has the most flame tokens at the end of the round will win. This game also has Caliente cards. Which are special abilities that can be played each round or throughout the whole game that you can kind of throw in to twist and turn how the game works. First thing I'll say is Keymaster Games just does such an incredible job at production and packaging because
Mhm.
look at this little matchbox. I
matchbox,
feel like I
yeah.
can light a match with this.
I remember the 2-player mode has like a pyramid thing that you have to play from.
A pyramid?
Like you have to like
I remember.
you're still playing. You're basically playing 2 hands, but the other hand is in front.
Oh, I think I
Yeah.
remember this as well.
Yeah, that's what
Pyramid.
it is. Mm-hmm.
Because pyramids are how fires are made.
It's like it is like a fire.
It's
like
a fire.
Triangle fire. Anyways, ignore me because I would suggest, like I suggested with Lunar, play this at 4.
What are your thoughts on Fuego?
I liked this one. I thought it was really interesting. I'll call them collisions, the strike a match or whatever it is when you flip them over. I thought that was cool. I also think that the team base is really interesting. It felt better than, for example, Lunar did, where there was less randomness in the 2 plays that happened at the very beginning, whereas like you are just playing the one trick because of, you're following what is played initially, and that's what you have to go off of. I like that aspect of it. I think for me, this one does fall a little bit of short because it really needs to be played at 4, and I think that's a bit restrictive, but I understand the intentionality. I just want a full commit to that instead of this like open information 2-player type version.
I see.
So for me, this one is a C.
If it was an only 4-player game, where would it be?
I think maybe it would get to a B, but it wouldn't be that much different for me.
Yeah. I think it is also a C for me. I think the player count doesn't bother me as much because I think there's a lot of 4-player games that I really, really like in trick taking that are very high and have that restrictive format. But I think for me, it was kind of the feeling of the game. Like we've played it and there's just a little bit, I just didn't feel like I wanted to come back to it I would want to come back to other games, which surprised me because I think a lot of Keymaster games I really want to come back to, and I think they do such a good job at kind of that production aspect that leads you to coming back to the games. This one fell a little bit short for me.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, that is Fuego.
Next up, we have Ghosts of Christmas.
This one right here.
Now, this is a really unique game.
Unique is the way to say it. Yeah.
Unique is very neat. But it's also thematic because it kind of goes down that whole Christmas carol of the past, the present, and the future.
Yes.
Now, in this game, you're going to be bidding how many tricks you're going to win. Then, you'll be playing cards into the past, the present, and the future. Now, you can choose to play in any of the 3. And if you're the first card there, you will set the suit for what must be played in that card. But don't get fooled by that because when all the cards are played, you'll first resolve the past.
Yes.
The winner of the trick of the past will be the lead suit of the present. Yeah. So even though everyone potentially followed a trick, if you didn't have the card and you played out of suit and won the past, you will win.
You could still win.
And you'll be the lead trick in the future. So there is that interesting element of planning for all of that. Now, when you make bids as well, you can take purple doors or red doors. Or you can take 1 red door in a game. Right. And that gives you a little bit of flexibility. So say I've taken 3 purple doors. If I meet those 3 purple doors, I'll get 2 points per door. Now, if I take 3 purple doors and 1 red door, it means I can win 3 or 4 tricks. But whatever the amount of tricks I win, if I have a red door, they're worth 1 point instead of 2. So you can have a little bit of flexibility in your bidding, but you'll get less points. Now, otherwise, you'll score 0 points if your bid is not met. It is you get it or you don't. And then you'll play as many rounds as there are players, and then that is the game. The player with the most points will win. And then you'll likely want to play again. Yes. Do you want me to start?
Yes, please start. Okay.
So, I really like this game. I will say I've seen the version of this game because this was based on another Japanese trick-taking game. I think it's reskinned a little bit and reproduced by All Play. I prefer the other version more. Right. I think this game, it is overproduced to a sense that I don't enjoy playing it as much. Like their door. Well, they try really hard to make it thematic. So you have doors, and if you meet the trick, you get wreaths, and then you have like little dials, and like there's a lot of aspects in this game that make it more than it should be.
More than it needs to be.
More than it needs to be, and should be, I will say. Because I think this game can be played with a fairly set of cards and a couple of components to really mark all those bids and everything that you're doing. Because thematically, I think it does lean to the thematic sense of past, present, and future. But it only really does in that whole aspect of you're going to resolve tricks from past to future. Like there's no more thematic integration in this game.
Right.
I just did not enjoy this version. I
Fair.
think the game is really solid. It's really fun. I would play it anytime. And I really wish I had the original version 2 played because I think it would be higher on my list. But with that, I'll give it a B.
A B. Okay.
And then, yeah, that's where I'll stand.
Yeah. For me, this one's tough because it took me a really long time to find the strategy with it, especially with the resolution phasing. Like I felt I didn't have a whole lot of control over some of the things that were happening, and that the past one was often like probably the one I was maybe playing last in so that I could guarantee almost the sequencing, but maybe my strategy is wrong and I haven't quite figured it out yet. So I don't want to be too harsh on this game. I'm not sure I fully got there, and that's like a problem for me because I think that would happen. I think I saw that happen with a couple other people that I played this game with too, where it wasn't necessarily clicking or there was a lot of mistakes made right off the front. Now, the best way to play this game is to just go through those mistakes and understand why, because it takes such a... Well, actually, no, that's not true. It does take quite a bit to play a full round of a full game, but it's also like one of those things that once you get it, you can start going into it pretty quickly, and then the time is reduced. So I think I have to give this one a C, but it's like a loose C because I'm not totally sure I grasped all of it.
Is it because Ghosts of Christmas with a C?
No. Oh yeah, sure. I was like, wait, what?
I think the other thing too is you bid your tricks for the entire hand. And your entire hand's going to be played through numerous rounds of those past, present, and future. So there's a lot of kind of planning and you can make up for it, and there's a lot of kind of adapting. So it is kind of, like you said, a really trial by error because you are going to make mistakes when you first play this game, and you're going to see the game come to life and see the bones of the game, which will help you evolve over time.
Yeah, it's basically like you're playing 3 tricks at once. That's really what it ends up being. And I find that intriguing, but I'm also like cautious of it because it didn't fully click for me.
Do you find it interesting, but you're not interested?
Exactly.
That's Ghost of Christmas. Next we have Pot Holic.
Pot Holic.
Yummy and cute. Now, trick-taking in this game works for the core of the game. It is a trick-taking game, although I think I will say it loosely. Because the way you're playing tricks in this game is essentially selecting your turn order for each of the rounds. You have 8 cards in your hand, there's 8 rounds in the game. So like I said, you're trick-taking for turn order, and then you'll take cards either from the center based on your turn order. So if you're going first, you can take 1 card and put it on your plate, or you can eat cards from your plate to your belly based on your turn order. So again, if you're going first, you can eat one of the cards. Now, if you eat the exact amount of cards that you have on your plate, that is called a perfect eat. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum.
And if you do that, your heat track will go up, which will be an additional way to score points. Now, everything you eat, there'll be various cards that will score in different ways for the end of the game. And it's kind of the whole aspect of like runs. You're trying to create sets. You're trying to increase your heat track. Also, the card that will be left over will be your favorite type of food. So if you eat a lot of that, yum, yum.
Yum, yum.
This game is about eating. You're trying to collect the best food, but you have to put on your plate. You can't just eat it from the center of the table. You have to put on your plate because we're human beings, and then we'll eat it. And if you eat correctly, fantastic.
Jeez. Yeah, this one's interesting. I thought like the timing of stuff was mostly just important for the draft in the middle. Well, the draft in the middle, you get to just like select. But otherwise, other than that, it was mostly just like a set collect game to me. Yeah, it was fun. But for trick-taking wise, I was more focused on like the eating and the like set collecting.
Obviously, you're going to be more focused on the eating.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a really cool twist in this game too, is you can flip the ranking of the cards. So there's like a 0 and a king, and if both of them are played, it actually flips the ranking.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you thought you were eating 1 card, you're eating all 4. Do you have enough space in your tummy?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah, exactly.
Or there's probably not going to be enough food left over in the middle.
Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, exactly. So that was the other thing I would mention is like when you are drafting and you want to take cards from the middle, sometimes you actually aren't able, like, there's nothing left for you. or there's only one card. So it's interesting, but you have to try and plan for that, and it's hard to do without knowing what everybody else might have in their hand. But that's part of the game.
Don't you hate when you want the one's last spring roll, but someone took it?
Yeah, I do.
That's why you gotta go earlier. You gotta grab it right away. Even if it's just one. Forget everything else.
Yeah.
Grab your one spring
Okay,
roll.
Pot Holic is a C for me.
Why a C?
I just thought it was lacking more in the trick taking than it was in the set collecting, and I would play the game for the set collecting before I said let's play this as a trick taker.
Mine is a B for those exact reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the trick taking, I'm not going to say let's play this trick taking game, but it is a great game. I love the art, I love the theme, and I would play it a lot.
Yeah, there you go. Hot Pot Holic.
Hot Pot Holic, baby. So next up we have
Schadenfreude.
So what this word means is actually the pleasure of observing someone else's misfortune, which is funny because it's thematic and fitting. Yeah. Because in this game, you almost always want to be in second place.
You want to be in second place.
You do.
Because if you're in second place, you win.
Exactly. Now, you'll play tricks in this game, as you typically do, and you must follow in your suit. And whoever hits 40 points first will trigger the end of the game, and the player closest to 40 after that will win the game.
Exactly.
Hence, laughing at the other person's misfortune of breaking
for
40.
For winning too many.
Winning too many. Now, cards in this game do include negative values, and they range, and you'll play following suit, and the player who wins will collect their card and all the cards of other players that are out of suit.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the twist in this game is if you collect the same value of card, they'll actually cancel out. So you are able to reduce your score as the game continues by winning specific tricks.
Yes, because you'll score the face value of all the cards, the face-up cards, when you're at the end of the game.
Now, I may have misspoke earlier because I don't know if I said this, but the winner of the trick is actually the player who played the second highest card in the lead suit.
I mean, it's fitting.
It is fitting. You don't want to win. So that is the player who gets to collect that. So that's kind of the element and the twist of you're wanting to win tricks to be second. Because you still want to get close to 40. You just don't want to break 40. So you still want to win tricks.
Yep.
But you want to win them strategically so you can push other people to 40 without yourself hitting 40.
And even more thematic wise, I think what this game does is like when there is a trick that is being played, you can choose to go over or under some of these people with the cards that you've played to decide whether or not you actually want to take this trick. So going first is sometimes a gamble, but it is interesting to see it all play out because of course, going last is always really nice because you can decide whether or not you're going to take the trick or lose the trick based on the cards in your hand, of course.
And even which card you're going to give to the player who's going to collect the cards. Because if you're playing out of
thing.
suit, you want to give him some extra points. You maybe want to push him to 40, or you want to give him some negative points if they're too close to your score.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of layers and twists and turns of that kind of perspective too.
And this game plays fairly quick, so you can kind of play it again and again, like throughout the night.
What letter grade would you give Schadenfreude?
Schadenfreude is a S for me, actually. Another S from Tyler.
It is also an S for me. It's just fun. And I think it's one of those games that the twists and turns, they pause you for a little bit in the start of the game. Because you have to get used to being the winner is the player who played the second highest card.
Yes.
And that's kind of the main gist of the twist in this game. Beyond the cards flipping over if you have collect the same cards. Once you kind of get that down, it's so easy to come back to and you want to play it again and you really want to outsmart everybody else. And again, it has that classic feel that I really like in games where we can play this game all evening. I will not get sick of it. I will love every game of it, win or lose.
Yeah. Schadenfreude is a win.
It's a win. Next we have Anaphylaxis.
Will this one stand up?
Look at the little tiny box.
Yeah, I'm just going to hold it.
Hold it.
Like this.
In this game, you're trying to sting the other players with bees. Now, what's really neat is this is a trick-taking game where you'll play cards and you'll aim to collect bees. Or wasps. Bees.
Wasps.
They look like wasps.
Maybe they look like
mean.
wasps.
Bees
We're
are always...
going to call wasps because I think wasps are the demons of the world.
Wasps are the demon. There's no point to wasps. Now, you'll play tricks and you must follow if you can.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a cool element of almost like Pokemon where different types beat different tricks.
It's like
the trick that is led, the trump is going to be what beats it.
Yeah, so like fire's trump is water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the trump. So that changes every single trick. Yeah. Now, when you win a trick, you'll collect any of the bees in that trick, or wasps. And for each bee and wasp you collect, that's very good. That'll be points for the end of the game. But here's the twist. If you collect the same valued bee...
Same color, same value.
Same color and same value, you get...
eliminated.
By going into Anaphylaxis shock.
Yeah. And the person that caused you to go into this shock will collect a card that will later give them a point.
Exactly. Or a few points, actually.
Yeah.
And basically, you want to eliminate other players, because if you do, you'll score more points. But if you don't get eliminated, you'll actually score points for every bee that you have. So you want to collect bees. Yes. So there's a really fun element of tug and pull of like, who am I going to give this trick to? And how can I force somebody to take this trick? And you really quickly learn that throughout the game. Because sometimes you'll play the wrong card, you'll win some bees, and you'll play the wrong card, and you're just stuck with others. And that's just the way that the game flows. What Tyler mentioned of getting extra points for eliminating is actually an optional variant.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have to play. We play with that because it's more fun. But you get a big bonus if you're the last one standing. And the points can be a little bit swingy in this game, but that's part of the fun.
Yeah, I also think that that's pretty hard to do. Like once you get the strategy of the game going, I think like that's something people start to pay attention to. I will say the one thing with this game that is quite unfortunate is you do really have to pay attention to what cards have been played already, because of the way that the elimination works. Is you can start off a trick with a bee, which maybe or wasp or whatever they are, which I probably wouldn't recommend actually, because there is so much autonomy with what everybody else has and their ability to be able to play cards for you. Now, if they play out of suit, that means they can also play a wasp. But if you already have that wasp in front of you, and this is open information, they can now eliminate you just by throwing out a card. So it's this interesting aspect of like, if I play this card right now, like I can eliminate somebody, and then I actually don't have to worry about collecting that wasp. I can then now just survive, and I'll score points for later on. The other thing that we didn't mention is you have the option to pass.
You do?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's really interesting in this one is if you think you are in a bad situation, you can choose to pass, and you first rotate the pass card, and then you'll flip it. But the whole thing is you can pass 2 times in a round. If you don't pass that card and you've survived at the end of the game, that card is worth points at the end of the game.
Points are good.
If you've passed twice, it's worth 0. But once you get the strategy, passing
is important.
At that point is quite important, and it adds a nice little twist to trick taking that I'm not quite used to seeing.
No, this feels very different.
It's super
to any
neat.
trick taking game I've played. And I will give it a B for bees.
A B? This one is an A for me.
An A for you?
A for Anaphylaxis.
Oh, I did B for bees.
B for bees. But you kept saying they were wasps.
I don't know what they are. They sting you, and bees are too cute to sting you. Yeah. Anyways, what I was going to say is that I think this is the meanest trick-taking game I've ever played.
Okay, so this is the thing, is it plays so quickly that the elimination actually doesn't feel bad. Usually I would knock it for that.
But in this game, you are actively trying to eliminate other players. I think that is the intention of the game. You do, like, yes, you want to win bees, but your role is how do I get everybody else in this table stung? Which I've never felt in a trick-taking game. I feel like every other trick-taking game, you're more playing
it's like
for yourself.
Yeah, it's more like, it's like well, I'll talk about Hearts, but it's like in Hearts when you like feel good about passing somebody the queen. Like, that feels really good, but that's what this is, but high adrenaline.
Higher adrenaline.
I
think it's a fantastic game. I want to play more. I think it could potentially move up in my scale, but for now, it is a B.
Yeah, and it's also a super small box.
It's very portable.
Super happy that we picked this one up.
Yeah. Next up, we have Odyssey. Now, in Odyssey, you're going to be making your way back to Ithaca. And the way you'll be doing that is playing tricks naturally.
Obviously.
Now, in this game, you want to win a set amount of tricks based on your player count. Now, the way you do this is you play cards from your hand or from the center of the table,
yeah.
from Mount Olympus.
Yeah. So you'll have these tokens that you'll be able to use to play cards from the center. You'll have to follow suit if you're able to, but it is a good way to play out cards that maybe you don't want to play from your hand and save yourself from maybe even winning a trick, for example. Or maybe forcing somebody else to win a trick that they don't want.
Exactly.
So that's always interesting.
Now, if you meet your bid,
or if you win
the set amount of number you need to win for your player count, then you will move the amount of spaces equal to the different suits you have collected. Yeah. So you kind of want to plan to collect all the 4 different suits, because then you'll be able to move and get closer to Ithaca. And that's the simplicity of this game. You play from your hand or from the center, and then if you meet the set amount of tricks, you'll get to move further ahead, and the first player to get to Ithaca will win.
Exactly. Now, the interesting part is the market adds a lot of unique and interesting aspects to this game because of the way that everybody else can see it. Often I'm not the biggest fan of these types of situations, but you really do need to pay attention to that market, whether or not you're going to lose the trick, win the trick, force somebody else onto it. I think those are really important things. And because you're stuck with the set number of tricks that everybody is trying to win, this game becomes really about how do I optimize what I'm given based on my hand, my tokens, and the stuff I have. You're going to have to use all of them as well. So that's the other thing, is you can't not use those tokens. So eventually you need to decide whether or not it's worth doing it, or if you're going to just hold off for a little. The timing of this is pretty dang important.
And I will say, it's thematic, because the center is Mount Olympus, and Odysseus' journey would be nothing without the gods.
That is true.
Of Mount Olympus, and they really influence everything that happens. So it is a really core element of the game, which again makes sense.
Yeah. I like that we're all just battling for the same amount of tricks too. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Not saying that the bidding thing is a bad thing, but this one takes a step back from that and then says we all need to win these number of tricks. It's almost impossible for everybody to do it.
I think it's actually possible for everybody to do it. But if there is because I think in 3 players you're playing.
Oh, you're right. I think so. I think you're right.
So I think everyone could potentially reach it, but if you're trying to get one player to get one more, because that means another player won't. So then you are in a better position. Yeah. So it's this interesting give and take of you trying to get your cards. But then also, because of the way that scoring works, is if you're successful, but you've only won cards in one suit, that's not very good. That's not very successful to me.
So you do kind of want to try and balance these things out, and you do want to force the flood of or people who are void of the suit, you do want to force them to play other cards, which again, Mount Olympus becomes really important there. You also want to pay attention to the suits that people are lacking, because then when it comes to you, if you are void of that suit, you can give them another suit that they may have already collected.
Exactly. And I think that scales up in all the replayability and just how you encounter this game.
What's this one for you?
This one was a tough one for me. I really, really liked it, but I don't think I liked it enough to be an S. I think it is an A for me. It's a solid game. I really liked it. I will play it again and again. And I really, really like the designer. The designer behind this game has created some really, really, really clever games. And I think this really fits in a lot of his other games too.
Yeah, this is A for me as well, for very, very similar reasons.
The Odyssey. Or is it just Odyssey?
It's Odyssey.
Odyssey.
Yeah. Next up, we have Twin Palms.
Twin Palms. Now, this is a trick-taking game, and where you'll be playing 2 cards per trick.
Yeah, sets. Yeah.
How fun. Now, you can choose how many suits you want to play based on the difficulty of the game. Because the more suits that you have, there's more
combinations
of things that can happen.
How would you even...
well, because there's a hierarchy.
Hierarchy. That's
a ranking of what will win over other things. Now, each suit has a card numbered 0 to 10, and there is a wild. And each card will appear twice. Now, the strongest play is a pair of cards that are the same number, with high numbers, of course, beating low numbers. And then there's a hierarchy, like you mentioned, like palm trees beat dolphins, dolphins beat sunglasses, which also beats pairs that are different suits. So it kind of goes on through that whole aspect and element of it. Now, you'll also be bidding in this game as well. And after 5 tricks, you'll have 10 cards. You'll see if you've met your bid. But here's a catch. You can actually bid on your bid. you'll
Right,
bid if you can make your bid and how much. So you can double up and kind of get higher and get more points based on how confident you're potentially feeling in this game.
Yes.
And the scoring is pretty friendly too, because if you miss your bid, you'll still score a point for each of the tricks that you've won. But that's essentially the game. I think the twist of trick taking is the pair of cards, the combination, because there's so many more combinations of what you can play when you're playing this game.
Yeah. Now, remind me, how many suits do you get to pick? Like, what's the base suit number?
I think there's only one. You can play with one.
You can play with one suit?
And you can go up to 3 suits, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So I will say right off the bat that the one suit is a pretty good introductory, like, to trick taking in general. I think that's a huge plus. The 3, I think the hierarchy gets really difficult to follow. Like, there's so many different combinations that occur, and I think that like, maybe my suggestion is, if you want to play this game, maybe work your way up.
Yeah.
And they do have hierarchy cards, which are very, very helpful, but at the same time, it is a lot to wrap your mind around, especially when you're trying to, like, say, do I want to win this trick? Do I need to win this trick? Like, you're often stuck looking and being like, okay, can I actually win this trick if I do this, and then you end up kind of getting frozen in place, unfortunately.
Yeah. It is a little bit of getting used to, but I like that it has that scalability for the game.
That's true, yeah.
The other thing I like too is the theme of it. I feel like it's a very fun, like, seeing all the game come to life.
Fair, but I mean, like,
you're not
beating dolphins.
That's true. I think maybe not the theme, the art, I will say.
Yeah.
Because it has a really fun table presence. Once all those cards are on the table, like, it just gives you that nice summer beach feel that you're looking for.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think with all of that said, this game is a solid B for me.
Ooh, fair.
So the reason it is a B is, again, there is a little bit of too much of getting used to, and I think it takes a while to get into that natural progression where you're just playing without thinking, which is something I really value in trick-taking games. A lot of the ones I scored really low are ones that you have to, like, there's a lot of administration or what's happening in this game.
Yeah.
But I really like the clever aspect of playing 2 cards, because you have so much flexibility with your hand of cards to make those matches, to win or lose tricks based on what you want to do, and the ability to bet and potentially score even more points based on your confidence level. It's a fantastic addition to the game, and it's one that left me coming back to it. So it's kind of like down the middle for me.
The double downing is actually really interesting. I do like that aspect of the game. I will say I feel like I'm stuck in a hard spot with this one, because the base with just the one suit is a little too simple for me.
That's fair.
Well,
I have 2 suits.
2 suits, I think, is where the game shines the most. I think 3 suits is where it I think gets a little bit of brain burny.
Okay.
And for that reason, like, I'm probably not going to suggest it a lot. I actually think Twin Palms for me is a D. Yeah. Sorry. There are parts of that I enjoy. It's just never going to be a trick-taking game that comes to my mind.
That's fair.
As a suggestion, as a recommendation, and I'm probably going to pick a lot of other trick-taking games over this one.
Who am I going to play Twin Palms with then?
I guess you're going to have to ask your friends. Anyways, that is Twin Palms.
That is Twin Palms.
Next up, we have a trick-taking game called We Need to Talk.
Now, in this game, you're going to be building a relationship.
Yes.
But that relationship is doomed.
We need to talk.
Hence we need to talk.
We need to talk.
Now, this game is played in 2 phases. The first phase is actually trick-taking 4 cards. And the cards that you win, you'll be playing the second phase in a card-shedding phase. Yes. And the thematic relevance to this is, in the first phase, you're going to be building memories. And in the second phase, you're going to be trying to forget them. Because done.
It didn't go over so well.
It did not go over well. Now, it's classic trick-taking. You're going to be playing cards. You're going to be collecting those cards. And then it's classic card shedding.
It is. It really is.
Because you're trying to follow a certain amount of sets. And your goal in this game is to have the least number of points. Because if you card shed all your hands, you'll get 0 points. And then everyone else will score a point for every card that's left in their hand.
Yes.
The mechanics are very similar. The theme is very unique. And it's a pleasant game, even though the theme is a little bit morbid.
I wouldn't even say that. I mean, the theme isn't as
It's sad.
It's not as dramatic as you make it sound. It is a little sad.
You're playing a doomed relationship.
But it's like all good things can come to an end. Like you can also think about it in that way, right? Like,
yeah, let me just forget about all the good things.
Well, you don't have to forget about them. You just have to get closure on them.
But you have to forget about them to win the game.
No. This game is quite interesting, actually. I find it, for context, I guess, the number of cards that you can have at the card shedding phase is outrageous.
Yep.
Because you can have a lot. There's both it's fun to have to deal with, but it's also a lot to try to figure out. Because if you win a lot of tricks, all of those cards are then going to become your hand, right? So you have a lot of power in determining whether or not, or like how to do that card shedding and making sure that everybody else can't do it, because then you can hopefully shed your hand before everybody else. Having a large hand does not always mean you are going to be at a disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
I would argue that having a large hand is more of an advantage.
Agreed.
Because you have way bigger sets or groups that you can play through
that other players cannot follow.
Mm-hmm. However, they do add a nice little twist for those people who don't have all of those cards. They have purple cards, and the purple cards will go high or they'll go low. And those, when they get played, it'll switch it. Mm-hmm. And that makes an interesting situation of the hierarchy being reversed.
Mm-hmm. Generally, it's unique, and I think I love the theme and the art for it. It stands out. It's not anything I've really seen before. Mm-hmm. And for that reason, I will give it a B.
A B.
You probably thought I was going to give it higher, but I think it's because, again, trick-taking is only half of this game. But the trick-taking in this game is really thoughtful and methodical because you want to win certain cards. You're planning for that card shedding phase, and you're being really thoughtful of what you're doing in this game.
Yeah, you are, and you're trying to... I really like the way that you put that, is like trying to get rid of and get cards that you would really need to help with that card shedding. I think because of that, I actually give this one a B.
Was it going to be lower?
No, I thought about putting it as maybe a C, but I actually do really like the concrete of here's the trick-taking phase, here's the card-shedding phase, and the trick-taking is pretty standard with a bit of thoughtful strategy that goes towards the next phase. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And there we have it. We need to talk. All right, we're on our last game of this series.
Of the part 2. Mm-hmm. Who knows? There'll be a part 3 maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Now we have Tatsu.
Tatsu.
Another team-based game.
Mm-hmm. This one is really interesting because there are 2 different types of cards. There's the black cards and then there's the white cards. And the way that this game works is you'll shuffle those 2 decks together, you'll deal them out to all the players, and on my turn, I always have to play my team's color. However, I can choose who gets to play it. You can see on the back what cards everybody has. So I can say, hey, Ilya, play for me. And then he'll have to play one of his white cards down onto my play zone.
Whether I'm Tyler's opponent or his teammate.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Now, that will continue to go on until all players have played one card into their zone. And then you'll evaluate the trick to see who has won. You get all of those cards and they have either a multiplier or a number on them in most instances that will give you scoring at the end of the game or end of the round. Mm-hmm. This scoring is wild in this game. I think you can score a lot of points in one round. Yeah, because the multipliers range from ×1 to ×3. And if you collect multiple ones, now you're like 3 + 1 + 2 +
They stack.
1. Yeah, so they do stack. The other interesting aspect of this game there are fusion cards. There's one in each suit or each team's color. And if you choose to play them, you finish out the trick and then collect those cards to be one in the next trick.
Essentially delays the winning of the trick into the next trick. And you can play 2 in a row, so one player can get a ton of cards.
Yeah.
And your whole aspect in this game is you're trying to collect your multipliers and the hard cards and the high cards and prevent your opponents from collecting those as well. Because if they don't get their multipliers, who cares if they have all these high values? They don't really mean anything.
Yeah.
10 points? Psh, what about 200?
Yeah, exactly. And I find that interesting play of like, you know what is in your hand. So you have like this deduction step of like, okay, well, what does everybody else have? What else has been played? Do I ask this person to play a card? I have all of the high cards so I can win these tricks, but is this a trick I want to win? No. So I'll ask somebody else to play, knowing that because I have all the high cards, they likely have a low card, or maybe they have like a multiplier. And that's like the strategy you have to try to learn and evolve with. I find it chaotically pleasing.
It's very pleasing. And I think you also have all the cards are dealt out.
Mm-hmm.
So once you played this game enough, you know that this card still exists out there.
Yeah.
And you begin to make gambles to be like, I know it's either here or here.
Mm-hmm.
And this person only has one card. I think that's the best part in this game is when one player only has one card of your type. Because they get to choose which they want to play. You don't get to say, play this card. Like, I choose that one.
Yeah.
They'll play the card that optimally makes sense for their team that round.
Yeah.
But if they only have one of your color, they have to play it.
Exactly.
And sometimes that's the perfect card to win your trick.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So with that being said, I think that there's a lot of moments in this game where you can have like highs and lows because you can take that gamble. I think that experience along with the trick taking is very unique. I don't think I've experienced in many other games like this. And I really enjoyed Tatsu, and it is a good game for us to end on because I'm giving this one an S. Boom.
I'm going to give it an A. I think for me, it's very, very close to an S. But I think for me, there's a little bit of too much luck factor, which I love. Mm-hmm. But sometimes, like, there's been games where we play this where, like, me and my partner just got demolished because Tyler just gets lucky.
That is a knock on the game, is the point scoring can be quite fast.
And it is, you can catch up. It is possible. You can kind of reverse the situation, reverse Uno, and kind of go the other way. But I think for that reason, I want a little bit more control. And it does not quite have that for me. But it's still a very solid game. I would play it any day. For that, it is an A.
Yeah. I think I made a comment earlier about how randomness can depend on the game. And the randomness
in this one works?
I think works for me.
Works for you.
Well, obviously it works for me because I gave it an S.
You gave it an S.
And that is Tatsu.
And that has been part 2 of our trick-taking ranking series. Series, not series.
Part 2.2, because we're in different uniforms now.
Exactly. Our uniforms. Yeah. Now, there are some trick-taking games we did not get into. There's also some trick-taking games that have arrived in the mail today.
Yeah.
Which we did not get into, which means that there will be a part 3 in the future, but you may have to wait a little bit longer for that because we're going to wait till we get up to about 20 games. I think 20 games is a very solid number. Today was a little bit long, hence our uniform change. But in addition to that, we are going to be doing a few more giveaways, and if you're interested into entering any of those, check out the link in the description below. There's a Discord entry, but you can enter through YouTube and through all the various other means. And that is a way for us to say thank you to you with all these publishers that have supported our giveaways for supporting our content and diving into trick-taking games with us.
Yes, exactly. And of course, if you want to fill out this tier sheet, we are going to leave the link in the description. Feel free to share that with us. Talk hot takes. Maybe we're off, but this is our tier list. I'm excited to come back to it, and it's going to be interesting when we do reevaluate. Well, we're not going to reevaluate, but we'll come to these games that are new to us and see where they fall in these tiers. So I'm pretty excited for when that does come around.
And maybe they'll move up and down depending on the more that we play them or the least that we play them.
There maybe are a couple in here that I would reevaluate based on the number of times we've played them, but I think looking at my list right now,
you feel pretty good?
I'm pretty happy with it.
You feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, if you enjoyed this video,
make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button if you're new here, because we love talking board games.
And hit that little bell because when you know when our next videos are going to come out, and we do have some fun ones for trick-taking, we'll have an award video and our top 10 trick-taking games of all time.
That actually probably should lead us to a good question of the day.
Which is?
Is there an award that you think we should be handing out to some of these trick-taking games? Maybe what do you think deserves the best theme? What has the best cards? Things along those lines. Let us know what award we should give away.
The game that could pull off the best mustache.
Exactly.
Which game would that be?
I have no idea. I'd have to look at
We'd
it.
have to think about
Cat
it.
in the Box, because you could wear the cat as a mustache. A tail mustache.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. Silly or not, leave your suggestions in the comments down below, and we'll get back to you with the awards.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you
in the next one.
Bye.